Yoga is not a substitute for medical attention or treatment. Don't perform any postures to the extent of pain or strain. Always listen to your body and meet yourself with kindness and compassion.
So today's class will be a vinyasa flow, but we will also be doing some stretches. And I decided to teach a class that is targeted for athletes. So whether you are a seasoned athlete or if you are just starting your fitness journey, as this is the beginning of the year, many people do decide to start their fitness journeys at the beginning of the year. This class is tailored for all levels. So if you do need a block or if you have a big book or something, it's not required, but if you do have it, you might want to have it just nearby in case you want to use that to support yourself in any of the poses that we do. And we will begin in child's pose. So in your child's pose, you're going to bring the big toes to touch, take the knees out a little bit wider than hip width distance, and then allow your torso to decline forward. And maybe if your head doesn't reach the mat, you could place your hands on top of each other or place a block underneath your head and support yourself in that way. And as you come into this pose, you want to go ahead and begin to notice the sensations that arise within. With your eyes closed, maybe it feels great to rock the forehead a few times, right to left, just to get tension out of the back of the neck. Maybe it feels good to open your mouth and just release tension around your jaw. Wiggle your jaw a little bit side to side here. See if you can relax the fingers and the toes. And as we are in this pose for the first few moments of our practice, we try to transition away from the busyness of the morning or the busyness of the day whenever you're practicing this class, and onto the mat and into a space where we can connect to our bodies, where we can connect to the sensations, and hopefully find a little bit of ease for our minds so that thoughts will automatically begin to fade into the background. As we are human beings and thinking is what we are made to do, it might sometimes not be possible to take that switch on demand. So a really great way of helping ourselves is to connect to our breath. So for the next few moments, please become a silent observer of each inhalation and each exhalation that you take. And becoming present and mindful with awareness of the flow of the breath, we do help our mind to calm down, we help the body to settle, and we help ourselves to make that transition away from the hectic stresses and all the to-do lists that especially moms are having each and every day, allowing ourselves to become more and more united with the body and the breath. So maybe as you continue observing your inhalation and exhalation, see if you can notice the little expansion with each inhalation across the back body. And also notice the grounding sensation, the letting go, the softening with each exhalation. And as I said, today's class is tailored for athletes, and we will be working into the joints and the muscle groups around these joints that are in high demand for any athletic activity. And the intention is to strengthen these areas, but also to stretch and become a little bit more flexible, and also to recover these areas towards the end of the class.
So let's take one last breath here in child's pose. Open your mouth for the exhale. And let's just do one more time. Big breath in through the nose. And an audible exhale out with open mouth. Very good. From here, slowly slide your hands under the shoulders. Bring the knees back in underneath the hips, and then step your knees back so that the knees align under the hips and the hands are stacked underneath your shoulders, coming into a tabletop pose. Finding your cat-cow movements here, finding a little bit of spinal flexibility. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. Exhale, press hands, knees, and tops of the feet into the mat so that you can broaden the area between your shoulder blades. And then as you continue to move, see if you can connect your breath and your movement. Inhale, the belly drops. We lengthen the front of the body, and the exhale, we round the back of the body and we pull the chin to the chest. And then just going in your own pace a couple of times here, in and out of this beautiful fluid movement. Trying to keep your eyes closed might help you to stay a little bit more attuned to the sensations that come along with those movements. Otherwise, you can open your eyes and just have a soft gaze as we flow this 2 more times. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze. On your exhale, round and broaden the area between the shoulder blades. Just one more time. Find a little bit more length in the front side of your body as you inhale. And then as you exhale, find that space between the shoulder blades. Coming back into a neutral tabletop pose, we are going to tuck the toes under, bring the knees and the big toes to touch, so bring everything towards the center, and then sit back, crawl your hands back, and turn your 10 fingers away to the right and to the left. So right hand to the right, left hand to the left. Keep a little bit of space between the wrists, and then just lean gently side to side. So we're really trying to get into all the areas of our body, beginning with the hands and the wrists. So just a little rock side to side. That's it. And then you want to go ahead and place your hands with the fingertips facing towards the knees. So here, the further you slide your hands away from your body, the more intense the stretch will be as you gently rock back and forth now. Trying to keep the fingertips glued to the mat, but the wrists, the base of the wrists, can gently move off the mat. That's it. Looking good. And then from here, let's see if we can place the tops of the hands onto the mat. Sometimes you have to go one by one, depending on how vulnerable your wrists are. And here, probably it's easiest to just pause without any movement back and forth or side to side, just really getting into that stretch in the front of the wrists. We're here for 3, 2, and 1. And then slowly release the hands from the mat and just sit back onto your tucked toes. So this connects you to the soles of the feet, a very neglected area for many of us. So if this is way too strenuous on the feet, you might have to untuck the toes and come onto the tops of the feet. But as you continue to practice this, it is really a life-saving skill if you're able to balance on your feet well, because as we know and studies show, falling is the #1 cause for death once you become older. So go ahead, maybe shake your hands out to distract your head a little bit, your mind, take the thoughts away from the pain in your feet and your toes as you shake your hands. That's it. And I'm not going to torture you for too much longer. Let's just stay here. Maybe relax the hands onto your thighs for the last 3 breaths. Trying to align head over shoulders, shoulders over hips. Let's take one more last inhale here. And exhale, release. Beautiful. Come forward. Maybe you want to untuck the toes and just tap the tops of the feet to bring circulation and blood flow back into that area. And then circle the feet for a few times. We're going to go straight into our first downward facing dog. So tucking the toes under again,
lift the hips, push the legs back into space, and if you can now clearly hear the sensation of the body in the back of the hamstrings, feel free to keep your knees bent. Maybe feel free to pedal the heels down towards the floor, alternating side to side. Important here is not that the heels push down towards the mat. It's more important to find the longest possible position for your spine. So your chin is slightly tucked, the gaze is back, fingers are spread nice and wide, and you're trying to externally rotate the shoulders away from the ears as you come into this downward facing dog. We're here for another deep inhale. And maybe open your mouth again, exhale, release. Wonderful. From here, we're gonna lift that left leg all the way up into the sky. And then you wanna begin by circling into the left ankle. So just make a few movements into that left ankle. Could be circling, could be pointing and flexing the foot. You could crunch your toes. Maybe there is a little bit of tension you can release in that little joint here. And next, you're going to bend into that left knee and begin to circle the entire left leg forward. So trying to create a big circular movement forward 3 times. That's it, last time forward, and then circle it back. And here you're not trying to rush through it. You want to go nice and slow. And you also want to go ahead and see if you can use that full range of motion of your left hip joint. After 3 circles back, go back into that 3-legged dog. Left leg reaches back and up. Look forward, and then pull the knee all the way to the nose. Flex the left foot, and step your left foot up in between your hands. Dropping the right knee down to the floor. Maybe pushing that right knee a little bit further back, so you're not on your kneecap, but more towards the quad muscle here. And then you could stay here in this low lunge. You could come up, maybe interlacing the hands on top of your left knee. You could feel clearly into the stretch of that right front hip crease. And if you want to go a step further, reach both arms up all the way so that the fingertips are reaching upwards. Try to keep space between the earlobes and the tops of the shoulders here. As you pull that left hip a little bit more back, pushing the front hip on the right down towards the ground. One more inhale here, nice energizing pose. Maybe you can feel the heartbeat rising. Last exhale. And then from here, lean forward, circle both arms down to the ground, and then inhale, lengthen the spine. Maybe again you want to stay here, or try to bend into that right knee, pulling the right heel in towards your right glute muscle. You could stay here, you could place your left hand on top of that left knee and try to reach the right hand, and maybe you can grab hold of that right inside of the foot. So holding your foot from the arch, trying from here, once you have the hold of that foot, to again square your hips and shoulders towards the front of your mat. We're here for one more big breath in. Now getting deeper into the front of that right hip crease, getting deeper into the quad muscle. And without slingshotting, it's Tuesday morning. Without slingshotting, release that right foot back down to the ground. Place both hands down to the ground and then tuck the right toes under. Lift the right leg, step back with the left, and then lower all the way down to the ground. Make a connection of your entire front side of the body with the mat. Take your fingertips out to the sides and come onto the tips of your fingers like little spiders. On an inhale, lift your chest, your heart for a spider cobra. And exhale, relax all the way down, forehead touches the mat. 2 more. Inhale to lift. Exhale, release. 1 more time. Inhale to lift to your degree. And exhale, relax. Awesome. Slide the hands back underneath the shoulders, tuck the toes, and then push up straight into a plank or use your knees, and then back to downward facing dog. Just a few moments here in downward facing dog. Maybe you can notice a little difference between the right and the left side. We're here for the last round of breath. Jaw is relaxed, face is soft. And on the next inhale, the right leg sweeps back and up. And we stay here, finding those movements into the right ankle. Little circular movements, pointing and flexing. As you do so, you want to push your chest back to that standing left leg. And then begin to bend into the right knee. And begin to circle the right knee forward. 3. Big circles. 2. 1 more. That's it. And then circle it the other direction. Reversing. 3. 2. 1. Good. Extend the right leg back, 3-legged dog. And then look past your fingertips already. As you shift forward, pull the knee in towards the chest, flex your right foot, and then step the right foot up in between your hands. Wiggle that left foot back as you drop the left knee down to the ground, maybe pausing in your low lunge here, climbing up onto your knee, or if you want to go a step further, lift both arms up overhead, and see if you can, again, find that beautiful stretch in the front of the left hip crease, shoulders relaxed, fingers are active. Maybe the gaze is a little bit up. Maybe you lean a little bit back. Careful here, just go to your own personal limitation. And we're here for 3. Opening the heart, opening the front side of the body, 2. And 1. Bring both hands down to the ground again. Maybe again you choose to continue and stay here, or try to bend into the left knee, pulling the left heel in towards the glute, and then reaching back with your left hand. Right hand can come onto the top of that right knee. And again, you want to hold the left foot from the inside, from the arch of the left foot. And then as you have that connection, try to square your hip bones and your shoulder forward. So you're trying to really get deep into stretching the quad on your left side. We're here for just 1 more breath. And if you can, try to continue breathing steadily and fluidly in and out through the nose. Beautiful. Slow and soft release of that left foot. Both hands down to the ground. Step it back into your plank pose. And again, this time will take a little bit longer to lower down to the ground. Let's do a count of 8. Very slowly. You can drop the knees at any time. Lower down. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just 1 cobra. Hands stay where they are. Elbows hugging in. Lift up through the center line. And then exhale. Tuck the toes back under. Lift back and up into your downward facing dog. Nice. Let's take 2, 3 breaths here in down dog. Allow the breath to travel up and down the spine. Allow the back of the neck to stay nice and long in extension of the rest of the spine. So the gaze is back to the knees or the toes. And then looking forward, let's just come up high onto the toes and walk yourself all the way up to the top of the mat. That's it. As you reach the top of the mat, take a halfway lift, flat back, lengthen the spine. Come up halfway, and then exhale, fold. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, halfway length. Crown of the head to the tailbone are nice and long. I need 1 straight line. Exhale, fold and round. 1 more time. Inhale, halfway lengthen. And exhale, fold and round. Now allow for the torso to be really soft. Press into all corners of your feet equally. And then roll up with a rounded back and bend in the knees all the way to standing. Good. Last thing that lifts is the head. And then aligning head, heart, and pelvis. 1 long line. Arms relaxed alongside your body. You guys stay where you are. I'm just turning towards you so you can see better. As we inhale, reach both arms up overhead.
Grab your left wrist, little bend in the knees, lean over to the right side, big side body opening through the left. Keep your ears between the biceps and imagine you're squeezed between two sliding doors. So we're not leaning forward, not forward or back. We're trying to go straight in the line of our shoulders and hips. Last breath in here. Last exhale out. Inhale back to center. Change and hold your right wrist with your left hand and lean over to the left side. Now opening into that right side body. Breathing here. In and out of the nose. See if you can now bring your awareness and attention to the right side of your rib cage. One more inhale here. One more exhale out. Inhale back to the center. And then exhale, relax the hands down alongside the body. Go ahead and bring your big toes to touch now. And then reach the arms up, inhale. On your exhale, bend the knees and lower the hips for chair pose. You want to keep a little bit of space between the heels, and you want to try and tuck the tailbone a little bit down so that you elongate that area between the lower back and the tailbone. Ears still between the biceps. We're here for one more breath. And on your next inhale, stay in that chair pose and lift the right leg up. So you look kind of like, if you've seen Karate Kid, maybe a little bit like Daniel's son as he's trying to practice that pose in one of the scenes of the movie. Let's take one more breath here. And then you want to cross that right foot in front of the left and extend the legs. So it will look like a cross-legged stand, right foot in front of the left. And then all you're going to do is begin to fold forward and down into your forward fold. And as we have the legs crossed here in this forward fold, we'll be able to dive a little bit deeper into the outer side of that left hip, into the psoas muscle. And we're here for one more breath, maybe transferring a little bit more weight into the toes. Good. And then from here, we're going to bend the knees very slightly and push all the way up to standing. As we come to standing, we take that right leg and pull it all the way up towards the chest, holding it here in that one-legged Tadasana, maybe flexing into that right foot. And then from here, we're going straight into our warrior one. So we're going to step that right leg back and find warrior one. Breathing here for 3, for 2, for 1. Exhale, bring the hands down. Step the left leg back. And this time, knees, chest, chin to the ground. Vinyasa. Inhale into your cobra. And exhale, downward facing dog. Just 3 breaths here before we come back to the top of our mat. Breathing in and out of the nose. One more cycle of breath. Coming to the front of the mat, you can continue to walk, or you could step yourself up, taking one foot and then the other. Take that flat back, lengthen halfway as you lift. Exhale to fold. This time, big toes together. We're dropping the hips straight back into our Utkatasana chair pose. Arms up alongside your ears. Breathing here. We're going to do the exact same sequence on the other side. So we're just here for another breath with both feet on the ground. And then as you keep that right knee nice and bent, begin to lift that left leg up, coming into this awkward balancing on one leg chair variation. Breathing here. Last 3, 2, 1. Crossing the right leg in front of the left as you extend the legs, hinge from the hips and fold over your legs into a cross-legged forward fold. And again,
trying to press both big toes equally down into the ground. Lean a little bit more forward so that you can find a deeper connection and sensation in the right back and side of your leg. Head dangles, no tension in the neck. Last breath in here. And as we inhale next, we're going to come back up into that one-legged standing pose. So we're going to roll up. As we roll up and reach the arms, the left knee flies. Knee comes close in towards the chest. Breathing here. One more breath. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. Soften your jaw. And then stepping back into our warrior one from here. Step that left leg long back. Find your warrior one. Gaze is forward. Maybe the pinky toes slightly turn inward towards each other so we can create that nice external rotation for the shoulders. Breathing here. Maybe a little bit deeper bend in that right knee. Both hip bones facing forward. Last breath in. Last breath out. And then exhale, hands down to the ground. Step the right foot back to plank. Find your vinyasa, dropping knees, chest, chin to the ground. Inhale, lengthen the spine, lift into your back bend of cobra. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. We're going to continue with a few other standing poses. On the next inhale, left leg reaches back and up. And then step the left foot all the way through in between your hands. Pivot the right foot down and rise up again, warrior one. As you exhale this time, open up to warrior one. Maybe scoot that right leg a little bit further out so you have a wider stance here for your warrior two. Gaze out over your left hand. See if you can keep that left knee stacked over the left ankle. Breathe here, shoulders relaxed, arms at the height of your shoulders. Good. From here, take yourself into a warrior dance. So we're going to take the right hand to the left hip and the left arm up and overhead for a variation of a reversed warrior. And we're going to stay moving. So take the left hand to the right hip as the right arm comes up and over into a variation of side angle. And we're going to flow this. Reverse it. Okay. And reverse. One more time. Reverse it. Stay here. Now begin to extend that left leg, coming into a reverse triangle. Breathing here. Ear on the left side is still on the inside of that left biceps. Last breath in. And we're going to transition into triangle. So we're going to unravel the arms back to parallel. Lean left over that left leg and then tilt down so that your left hand comes either on your shin, on a block, or maybe all the way down to the floor. You can scoot that right leg back in to shorten your stance. Might make it a little bit easier. And then here you want to try to really keep a micro bend in that left knee. Don't lock the knee. And then lean a little bit more back into that left shoulder so both your arms are stacking on top of each other. Breathe here. Gaze could be up to the right hand, straight ahead, or maybe even down if your neck feels a little bit tender. We're here for one more breath. Beautiful. And then rebend that left knee and come into a variation of side angle pose. Of course, if this is too deep, you could always place the left elbow on top of your left knee. You could stay here, and you could also extend that right arm all the way up and overhead, leading towards the top of your mat. If you then still feel you're not challenged enough, maybe try to release that left arm so that both arms are reaching diagonally forward, and you have to use a little bit more work of your core muscles. Wherever you are, last two, last one. And then let's all come back into warrior two. Slowly open up back into that warrior two pose. Nice. Hands together at the heart. Extend your left leg. Pull the left toes up away from the mat so they're pointing straight up. And begin to bend into that right knee, coming down
into Skandasana. Your right heel may lift off the mat, no problem. You can stay here with the hands at your heart, or you could place your right hand down, left arm up, for a little bit more spaciousness into the front left shoulder. Breathing here for 3, for 2, for 1. Bring the left hand down and then spin yourself towards your back of the mat into a lunge position. Place both hands down, step the right foot back, and then vinyasa, either knees, chest, chin to the ground. You could lower straight to the ground, or maybe chaturanga, lower halfway. Inhale into your upward facing dog. You can do a cobra. And then we all do downward facing dog for 3 breaths. At this point, you should be able to really notice the energy traveling up and down the spine. And maybe you already feel a little bit more subtle in the big joints of your hips, your shoulders. On an inhale, let's do the other side. Right leg reaches back and up. Step the right foot through. Pivot the left foot down and then rise up strong into your warrior 1, facing the back of your mat. Beautiful. Big inhale in here. Exhale out and then spin open to warrior 2. Nice. In your warrior 2, take a moment to adjust the pose. So if you drew a line from the right heel to the left foot, the interception should be happening at about the arch. So that's where the feet meet. Gaze out over that right hand. And then we begin. Left hand to the right hip, reach the right arm back and overhead behind you. Warrior dance, exhale, right hand, left hip, left arm up overhead. Keep moving, circling the arms around, leaning back over the left leg, and then coming back, right hand, left hip, left arm up overhead. Reversing it, pause here, and begin to extend into that right leg. So we have a reversed triangle pose. One more inhale here, feel the nice stretch in that right side body. And then unravel the arms back to parallel, leaning out over that right leg, and then dialing down into Trikonasana triangle pose. Again, as you come here, the idea is not that you bring that right hand as close down to the floor as possible, but you actually want to maintain a nice length in the spine. Gaze up, straight ahead or down. As we're here for another breath. Little micro bend in that right knee becomes a little deeper, going back into our side angle pose, maybe finding the right hand connected to the floor or a block, or the right elbow on top of that right knee. Another variation could be to extend that left arm up overhead, reaching out, lengthening into that left side body. And if you want more from here, release that right arm and come into a little bit more activity for your core, the center of your body, as both arms parallel to each other reach towards the right. Last breath in here. And then from here, we all come back up into warrior 2. Hands to the heart. Oh, sorry, that's my cat just walking past. And from here, begin to extend into that right leg. Pull the right toes towards your face. And then bend into the left knee to find your Skandasana. Hands can stay at the heart, or you place one hand down onto the mat and then reach the right arm up towards the ceiling for a little bit more opening into that right shoulder. Breathing here. 3, 2, 1. And then take the right hand down, spin around, lunging towards the front of the mat. And step it back into your plank pose. Lower in any way that suits your vinyasa style. Inhale into your back bend, cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Beautiful. About 3 breaths here in downward facing dog. Neck is relaxed. Breath travels up and down the spine. We take our last inhale and exhale here. We're gonna now integrate a little bit of cardio into our flow. And from that, we'll take it down to the floor and find some deeper stretches. All right, look forward. From here, try to see if you can hop your feet to the outsides of your hand, coming into a yogi squat. So you're gonna bend the knees, look forward, and then take a light hop with your feet to the outsides of your hands. Good. We're going to jump back into downward facing dog from here. Try to land with your knees bent for a little bit less pressure onto the lower back. Good. Look forward, jump forward. Good. Back. Forward. And back. 2 more times. Forward. And back. Forward and pause. Beautiful. From here, in your malasana, heels in, toes out, release the hands away from the floor. And then for 3 times, we're gonna stand up, changing from here to standing up in Tadasana. So inhale, press into your feet, lift up to stand. Exhale, squat back down. Good. Inhale, stand. Exhale to squat. 1 more time. Inhale to stand. Exhale to squat. Fantastic. Coming back into a hold, press the outer elbows to the inner knees and try to drop your tailbone down as the crown of the head reaches upwards. Here for 3, 2, and 1. Beautiful. Hands down to the ground, extend your legs, and keep the feet as wide as your mat, but turn the toes to face towards the top of the mat. And then wrap your hands around opposite elbows, bend the knees, ragdoll fold, little sway side to side here. Gently allow the torso to sway right and left. Good. And then drop the fingertips back down to the ground. Wiggle the feet back in to the position of coming into your chair pose. Bend the knees. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Breathe in your chair pose. And then from here, inhale, lift the right knee back up into that one-legged Tadasana. We're gonna add a twist now. Take the left hand to the right knee and reach the right arm back. You can stay here. If you feel you do have the flexibility and you want to try to go deeper into the pose, take your left hand, reach it for the pinky toe side of your right foot, and begin to extend the right leg towards straight. You can stay here. You can totally keep the knee bent. Wherever you are, try to keep head, shoulders, and hips in one line. Last breath in. Last breath out. And then from here, come back into that one-legged standing with the right hand on the knee. Reach both arms up overhead. And then come into a twisted chair, counter twist. Both big toes connect, hands to the heart, lean forward, and then draw your right elbow to the left outer knee to find that twisted chair. Breathe here. As you come into this twisted chair, you want to keep your knees next to each other, and you want to keep length as much as possible between the tailbone and the crown of the head. Maybe use your hands, the palms, pressing them together to create a little bit more leverage to pull that left shoulder on top of the right. Last inhale here. And then look down, stay in the pose, just look down towards your left big toe. Pull the right heel towards your glute. And step your right foot long back for a twisted lunge position. That's it. On your inhale, unravel, come up into high lunge crescent pose. And as you exhale, hands down to the ground, begin to extend into that left leg, finding a variation of pyramid pose with the right heel still lifted off the mat. Of course, you could come onto blocks here with the hands. If this is already challenging enough, maybe stay here, trying to always lengthen the spine, pulling the left hip back. If you need more challenge and more stretch in that left foot, try and see if you can lift your left toes off the mat, pulling your left toes towards your face. Right hip pushes forward, left glute pulls back. We're here for 3, 2, and 1. Rebend the left knee, step the right foot forward, straight back into chair pose. Drop the hips, lift the chest, the heart. And we'll repeat that sequence, our last part of our standing sequences. As we inhale, lift the left knee up towards the chest, and then find your twist on this side. Right hand connects to the left knee. Maybe stay here, trying to work on finding balance. We always try to find balance between ease and effort, so you judge where you want to be. If you like, you could reach for that left pinky toe side of the foot, finding a standing pose with a little bit of a deeper stretch into that left leg. Breathing here for 3, 2, and 1. Release, come back into your one-legged standing Tadasana. And as you exhale, left foot meets the right, hands to the heart, counter twist in chair pose, left elbow to the right knee. And again here, dropping the hips as low as you can, creating length of the heart, pulling forward and out, and then using the elbow and the knee and the palms pressing against each other to dial yourself into the pose. We're here for 3, 2, and 1. Keep the pose, look down towards your right big toe, pull the left heel in towards your glute, and then with control, extend that left leg long back, finding your twisted lunge. Take a last inhale here, maybe bend that right knee so it stacks over the right ankle. That's it. On your left toes, unravel out of the twist, come up into your high lunge crescent pose. And on the exhale, both hands down, framing the right foot. Begin to extend into that right leg. Finding your standing pyramid variation. Either the sole of the right foot stays connected, or maybe it lifts up, giving you a deeper sensation of stretch. Right hip pulls back, left hip pushes forward. We're here for one more full round of nourishing breath. Rebend the right knee. Plant your hands down, step your right foot back. Stay in your plank pose. We're gonna do one more, a little bit more active pose for the shoulders. So from here, we're gonna drop the forearms down to the ground. You can keep the forearms parallel, or you could interlace your hands. And then begin to walk your feet all the way up towards the top of the mat as much as you can. The forehead is off the mat, so your head is free to move. You're coming into this dolphin dog. Maybe you want to stay here and create strength in this way. If you want to lift your right leg, go ahead and try to stay on your left toes as the right leg kicks back and up. Push the chest back towards that left leg and really see if you can keep some distance between your ears and the shoulders. We're here
for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slowly bring the right foot down. Or maybe if you're still here, stay here. You can always drop the knees for a break, come back to meet us, or lift that left leg up into the sky, pressing continuously into the forearms. For 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release the right foot. Walk your feet back into your plank pose. Forearm plank pose. Last breath here. And then drop the knees down. Send the hips back. Come back into that child's pose, the position we started in. This time, we're going to take a little stretch for the shoulders. So slide your left arm underneath the right armpit, trying to rest your left shoulder and your left temple or side of the head down to the ground. And then crawling the right hand towards the top of your mat as the hips drop heavy towards the heels. Breathing deep into the left shoulder, into that beautiful stretch. One more breath. And then switching sides, slide the right arm underneath the left armpit, coming into your needle stretch in child's pose on this side. Maybe you want to turn your forehead a little bit more down towards the mat. Just exploring which little adjustments can take you deeper into the pose. Good, last 2 breaths here. Slowly release. And then from here, you've made it already. You can come onto your back. Pull the knees in towards the chest. Give yourself a little bit of a hug. Rock a little bit side to side. Just massage out the lower back. And we're going to do reclining pigeon. So you want to begin by crossing the right ankle on top of the left knee. Eventually, this is where you're going to start, and you already feel a lot of activity in that outer right hip if you place the sole of the left foot onto the mat. Eventually, you can lift that left knee up and thread your hands around the left hamstrings. Or if you know that you have more range of motion and flexibility in that right outer hip, maybe your hands can connect on top of that left knee. Try to keep your right ankle active, flexing into the right foot, in order to keep that right knee safe in this pose. As you come into the pose, make sure that the back of your head and the back of your shoulders are always resting on the mat. So whichever variation you pick, you want to keep a complete softness in the upper back and head. You can go ahead and close your eyes in this pose. Continuing to breathe in and out of the nose, bringing your awareness back to that flow of energy, that flow of breath. For the last 3 breaths, you can totally stay here, or if you wanted to go even deeper, you might want to hug your left inner elbow crease and your right inner elbow crease around the sole of the right foot and the right knee, extending into the left leg. The chest and the head lift off the mat for that. You can totally stay in the previous pose, but if you wanted to go a little bit deeper into that right outer hip, this could be an option for you. We're here for just one more round of breath.
And wherever you are, slowly release all the way out of the pose, pulling both knees into the chest. Give yourself a little rock side to side again before we set up for the other side. Left ankle on top of that right knee, finding wherever you want to go in this pose. And then making sure again that the back of the head is resting, the shoulders are relaxed. You have a little flexion of that left foot to keep the knee protected. Maybe a little sway side to side helps you to gauge the intensity that you want this stretch to be in. And as you close your eyes, you can become a little bit more silent to listen within, to dive deep into that conversation with your body. Maybe stay here or come into the deeper variation by kind of like hugging your shin, like you're cradling a baby, and then extending that right leg out. Wherever you are, continue to let the breath flow, allowing the body to carry fresh oxygenated blood into the left outer hip. As we have now made it to the restoring part of the practice, where we hold the poses a little bit longer in order to recover and heal. Last breath in, last breath out here. Beautiful. And then slowly unravel out of the pose. Hug your knees in towards the chest. Give it a little rock side to side. And then we're coming into happy baby. Hands from the insides of the knees. Flex your feet. Soles of the feet pointing up towards the ceiling as you reach for the outer pinky toe side of your feet, wrapping your hands around from that side. And then ideally you want the tailbone, the entire spine, and the back of your head connected to the earth. As you stack your ankles on top of your knees, trying to bring your thighs to a more parallel version with the mat. As you're in this pose, this big hip opener, you want to find ease and effort at the same time, bringing both of them into balance. It's like the yin and the yang, the sun and the moon. All these we try to bring into balance when we step onto the mat. One more breath in here. One more breath out. And then hugging the knees in towards the chest one more time. Keep the knees together, flex into the feet, and then if you have the space, spread your arms out at the height of the shoulders. Otherwise, you could cactus your arms as you drop both knees off and over to the left side. Finding a spinal lying twist here. Maybe you can lift your head, your shoulders off the mat to crawl them even further away from the hips, and then relax down again as you use a little bit of oppositional force with your left hand on top of that right knee. If the neck is fine, turn your gaze over to the right side and find your breath here. Deep belly breath. Each inhale, allow the belly to inflate even deeper. And then maybe opening the mouth again as you exhale to release. Couple more rounds, allowing for that spinal ring out, for that compression of the inner organs, so that once we release out of the twist again, we can flush our organs again with fresh blood so that they can continue to do their job and keep us healthy. Last breath in on the side. And then head and knees to center. Coming all the way over to the right, drop the knees to the right. Again, wiggle your shoulders and your head away from the hips, and then find your twist. Maybe the gaze over to the left. Breathing deep into the lower back. Maybe your eyes are closed already. Really coming back to the sensations of the body, coming back to listening to your breath. Last inhale and exhale here. Turning head and knees back to center. And then from here, let's go ahead and extend the legs straight up, extend the arms straight up, and then go ahead and just shake everything out. Shake your legs, shake your arms, give everything a really, really good shake. Last 5, maybe shake it even harder. 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then from here, allow for the legs to come down to the mat. Allow for the arms to rest alongside the body, palms facing up for that nice receptive gesture. Taking a full deep breath in through the nose together. And an open, audible sigh out. Allowing yourself to become still. Allowing the body to simply be, nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. Simply resting, absorbing all the benefits of this practice, and allowing the magic of yoga to do what it does best. Shavasana. Let the next breath be a little bit deeper as you inhale, a little bit longer as you exhale. Let the first movement be a little rock of your head, right to left.
beginning to add gentle movements with your fingers and your toes, and then growing the movements into your wrists and ankles, into the arms and the legs, until you find a beautiful, nice body stretch with the arms up overhead. And on your exhale again, hug the knees in towards the chest, maybe sway side to side. And then you decide if you want to take a few rocks back and forth to come up into your seat, or if you want to drop over to one side and use your hands for support as you come back up into a seat of your choice. If you can, try to stay with your eyes closed for these last few special moments of practice. Draw your hands together at your heart. Gently bow the chin towards the chest. Expressing our gratitude towards this practice that went beyond the physical part, making sure that with mindfulness we tend to a greater overall well-being. And also gratitude towards our bodies, to the community that we practice together with. Taking your hands to your forehead as a reminder to have loving thoughts. Guiding your hands to your lips as a reminder to have thoughtfulness and compassion in your speech. And then bringing the hands back to the center of the heart as a reminder to have consistency in everything that you think, that you say, and that you do as you step off your mat. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. Namaste.